You are dying, not someday, not eventually, but right now, in this very moment, with every breath you take while living someone else's life, while pretending to be happy in a relationship that suffocates you, while chasing money that never brings peace, while wearing masks that have become so tight they're cutting off your circulation. You are dying the slowest, most painful death possible, the death of your authentic self. And the tragedy is that you don't even realize it's happening. Listen to me carefully. I'm not here to comfort you with sweet spiritual platitudes. I'm here to shake you awake before it's too late. You're between 45 and 60 years old now. You've lived long enough to know that something is fundamentally wrong with the way you've been living, haven't you? That gnawing feeling in your chest at 3 in the morning, that voice that whispers, you've wasted precious years, that fear that you'll die without ever having truly lived. That's not depression, my friend. That's your soul screaming for liberation. I've watched thousands of people just like you sitting exactly where you're sitting now, convinced they still have time, convinced they'll make changes tomorrow, next month, next year. Do you know what happened to most of them? They died with their music still inside them. They died having never known who they truly were. They died in relationships that were nothing more than comfortable prisons. They died wealthy but spiritually bankrupt, or they died poor and bitter, blaming the world for their own cowardice. Let me tell you about something I see every single day. A woman, let's call her Sarah, comes to me. She's 52 years old. She's been married for 27 years. Her children have left home. And suddenly, she looks at her husband across the breakfast table and realizes she doesn't know this man. Worse, she doesn't know herself. She's spent 3 decades being a wife, a mother, playing roles, and now the stage is empty and she has no idea who the actress actually is. She tells me she feels guilty for being unhappy because she has everything: a good home, financial security, a husband who doesn't beat her, as if not being beaten is the highest standard for a relationship. Can you imagine? This is what we've reduced ourselves to, celebrating the absence of violence instead of demanding the presence of love, passion, authenticity, growth. Or take Michael, 57, built a successful business, money in the bank, respect in his community, and he sits in front of me with tears running down his face because he's never felt more empty. He worked 80-hour weeks for 30 years, missed his children's childhoods, sacrificed his health, his friendships, his joy, all for what? For a number in a bank account that gives him no peace whatsoever. He achieved the dream, and the dream turned out to be a nightmare, dressed in expensive clothes. Now, here's what I need you to understand, and this might be the most important thing you hear today. If you don't change right now, not tomorrow, not after you finish this video, but right now in your consciousness, you will continue down this path of slow suicide. Your ex-partner, if you have one, will find someone else, someone more alive, more authentic, more present, and they will build the life with that person that you were too afraid to build. Your current partner, if you have one, will continue to drift further away, and one day you'll be living as strangers under the same roof, going through motions, waiting to die. The money you're chasing, will either never come or it will come and reveal itself as the false god it always was, leaving you wealthy and miserable, which is perhaps the worst kind of misery because you can't even blame poverty anymore. But it gets worse, much worse, and I need you to stay with me here because this is where most people turn away. They can't handle the truth. If you don't wake up now, you won't just lose relationships and opportunities. You'll lose yourself so completely that you won't even remember there was someone to lose. You'll become a shell, a robot, going through the motions, saying the right things, smiling at the right times, dying inside while pretending to live outside. I've seen this happen to brilliant, beautiful souls, and it's the most heartbreaking thing I've ever witnessed. Your children, if you have them, will learn from your example that life is about endurance, not joy, about surviving, not thriving, about pretending, not being. They'll replicate your patterns, your fears, your limitations, and the generational curse will continue. Your body, which you've been ignoring while you chase external validation, will start breaking down faster. Disease doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from years of suppressed emotions, unexpressed authenticity, unlived life. The universe has a way of forcing the conversation you've been avoiding, and it usually does so through illness, crisis, loss. And here's the cruelest part: time is not on your side anymore. When you were 25, you could afford to waste a few years. You had decades ahead of you. But you're 45, 50, 55, 60 now. If you're lucky, you might have 20 or 30 good years left, maybe less. Do you really want to spend those years the same way you've spent the last ones? Do you really want to arrive at your deathbed with a list of regrets longer than your list of lived experiences? Because I promise you, and I've sat with enough dying people to know this absolutely, no one on their deathbed wishes they had worked more hours, made more money, kept up appearances better, or stayed longer in soul-crushing relationships. They all, every single one, wish they had been braver, more authentic, more loving, more alive. So what happens if you continue on this path? Let me paint you a picture, and I want you to really feel this. 5 years from now, you're 5 years older, 5 years more tired, 5 years more resigned. The dreams you have now, those little whispers of possibility, they've gone quiet. You've successfully killed them with your practicality, your fear, your need for security. Your relationship, if you're in one, has settled into a pattern so predictable you could script it Monday through Sunday, the same conversations, the same silences, the same empty intimacy that's more about habit than desire. You look at your partner and feel nothing, not hate, which would at least be passionate, but nothing, a vast, empty nothing. Your bank account might have grown, or maybe it hasn't, but either way, you've realized that the number there has no correlation to your happiness. You thought money would give you freedom, but you're more trapped than ever, trapped by the lifestyle you've built, the expectations you've created, the image you need to maintain. You're afraid to change anything because you've invested so much in this false structure. You're like someone who's built a beautiful prison and is now too proud to admit it's still a prison. Your health is declining, not dramatically, just that slow erosion that comes from years of stress, poor sleep, suppressed emotions, lack of real joy. You're on medications now for blood pressure, for cholesterol, for anxiety, for depression, little pills to manage the symptoms of an unlived life. Your doctor says it's normal for your age, and you believe him because believing him is easier than facing the truth that your body is simply manifesting your spiritual disease. Your friendships, if you ever had real ones, have faded into occasional text messages and annual catch ups where you all pretend everything is fine. You're surrounded by people but profoundly lonely because no one knows the real you. How could they when you don't know the real you? You've become so good at wearing masks that you've forgotten there's a face underneath. And the worst part, the absolute worst part, is that you've become numb to it all. You don't even feel the pain anymore. You've successfully anesthetized yourself with distractions, with busyness, with Netflix and wine and shopping and scrolling, anything to avoid the screaming silence of your own soul. You've become what society wanted you to become, a productive, compliant, quiet citizen who doesn't make waves, doesn't ask difficult questions, doesn't demand more from life. Congratulations, you've successfully murdered your spirit while keeping your body alive. But wait, there's more, because the universe isn't done with you yet. 10 years from now, if you don't change, you're looking at the final stretch. Retirement is approaching or has arrived. And that thing you were promised, that golden period where you finally get to enjoy life, it's a cruel joke because you never learned how to enjoy life in the first place. You spent 40 years postponing joy, and now you're supposed to suddenly know how to access it. It doesn't work that way. Your children are adults now, living their own lives, and when they visit, which is rare, there's a politeness, a distance, because they never really knew you. You never let them see you. You were too busy being the provider, the responsible one, the role model, and now you're reaping what you sowed: respect without intimacy, duty without love. They'll take care of you if you need it, but it will be obligation, not desire. And you'll feel it. Oh, you'll feel it. If you had a partner and they're still alive, you're two strangers who've shared an address for decades. You eat together in silence, watch television in separate chairs, sleep in the same bed without touching, waiting, just waiting. Waiting for what? For death, for release, for this endurance test to finally be over. This is what you've created. This is the masterpiece of your fear-based decisions, your need for security, your unwillingness to be vulnerable, to take risks, to live. Or maybe you're alone now, divorced or widowed, and you tell yourself you prefer it this way. You've earned your independence, your peace and quiet. But at night, in the darkness, you know the truth. You're not independent, you're isolated. You didn't choose solitude. You defaulted to it because you never learned how to truly connect, how to love without agenda, how to be intimate without losing yourself. And now it's too late, or so you tell yourself. No one wants a relationship with someone your age. You've missed your chance. This is just how it is. Your money, whatever you've accumulated, sits there, a monument to misplaced priorities. Maybe you leave it to your children who don't need it, or to charities that will spend it on administrative costs. Or maybe the government will take most of it in taxes. All those hours you worked, all those experiences you missed, all that life you didn't live. For what? For a number that dies with you. That means nothing in the grand scheme of things. That bought you everything except what you actually needed. And your regrets, oh, your regrets have become your constant companions. You think about the business you didn't start, the person you didn't pursue, the adventure you didn't take, the truth you didn't speak, the authentic life you didn't live. You think about who you could have been if you'd been braver. And it haunts you. It absolutely haunts you. You see people younger than you taking risks, living boldly, being authentic, and you feel a mixture of admiration and bitter envy because you know it's too late for you now, or so you believe. This is the trajectory you're on right now, this very moment, if you don't change. This is where your current choices are leading you, not to some dramatic catastrophe, but to something worse, a slow, quiet, respectable death of everything that makes you human. Your passion, your authenticity, your aliveness, your capacity for joy and love and wonder. You'll die having been born, but never having lived. And there is no greater tragedy than that. Now, are you feeling it? That fear, that urgency, that sense that something must change. Good, because fear is not your enemy. Fear is information. And right now, it's telling you that you're at a crossroads, perhaps the last real crossroads of your life. You can continue down the path you've been on, the path of slow spiritual suicide, comfortable and familiar and soul-crushing. Or you can choose differently, right now, in this moment. But before I give you the way out, before I share with you the techniques and practices that can save your life, literally save your life, I need you to understand something crucial. Change is not comfortable. Transformation is not easy. Waking up after decades of sleep is painful, disorienting, terrifying. If you're looking for a quick fix, a magic pill, a 3-step program that will solve everything without requiring you to fundamentally change, you're in the wrong place. Go back to sleep, keep scrolling, keep numbing, keep dying slowly. But if you're ready, truly ready to do the work, to face yourself, to strip away the layers of conditioning and fear and false identity, to risk everything you've built in service of something real, then stay with me. Because what I'm about to share with you has the power to completely transform your remaining years from a slow march to the grave into the most vibrant, authentic, alive period of your entire life. Let me start with the foundation, and this might surprise you. The first step is not about doing anything, it's about stopping. You need to stop, completely stop the frantic activity that's been your anesthesia for decades. Stop the busyness, stop the constant distraction, stop filling every moment with noise and stimulation and obligation. I'm talking about creating space, real space, silent space, empty space, because it's only in that space that you can hear the voice of your authentic self, the voice you've been drowning out for so long. Here's your first practical technique, and I want you to do this today, not tomorrow, today. Set aside 30 minutes, just 30 minutes, where you do absolutely nothing. No phone, no television, no book, no music, nothing. Sit in a room alone and just be with yourself. I know this sounds simple, but I promise you it will be one of the hardest things you've ever done, because when you stop running, everything you've been running from catches up with you. all the suppressed emotions, all the avoided truths, all the questions you've been too afraid to ask. Most of you won't make it past 10 minutes the first time. You'll find urgent things that need doing. You'll suddenly remember important tasks. You'll feel anxiety rising, boredom, restlessness, fear. This is good. This is the withdrawal symptom of someone addicted to distraction. Sit with it, breathe through it, don't run, because on the other side of that discomfort is the doorway to your authentic self. Do this every single day, 30 minutes minimum, and here's what will start to happen. You will begin to notice thoughts and feelings you've been suppressing. You will start to see patterns in your behavior. You will hear that quiet voice that's been trying to get your attention for years. This is not meditation in the traditional sense. This is simply stopping, creating space, allowing what is to emerge without trying to fix it or change it or understand it. Just witnessing. Now, let's talk about relationships, because this is where most of you are experiencing the deepest pain. Whether you're in a relationship that feels dead, or you're alone and terrified you'll never connect with anyone again. Here's the truth that no one wants to hear. You cannot have an authentic relationship with another person until you have an authentic relationship with yourself. And most of you have no idea who you actually are. You know who you've been told to be, who you've tried to be, who you pretend to be, but the real you, the essential you, remains a stranger. So the second technique is radical self-honesty. And I mean radical. Get a journal, an actual physical journal, not a digital one. And every day, write down 3 truths that you've been avoiding. These are truths about yourself, your relationship, your life. Things you know but haven't wanted to admit. For example, I don't love my partner anymore. I only stay for security. Or I'm attracted to my colleague and I've been lying to myself about it. Or I hate my job and I've wasted 20 years in the wrong career. Or I'm terrified of being alone, so I settle for relationships that diminish me. Write these truths down. No one needs to see them. This is just between you and yourself. But write them, because what remains unacknowledged remains in control of you. The things you can't admit to yourself are the things that run your life from the shadows. Bringing them into the light, onto paper, in your own handwriting, begins to break their power over you. Now, here's where it gets interesting. After you've been doing this for a week or two, you'll start to see patterns. You'll start to see the ways you've been lying to yourself, the ways you've been betraying yourself, the ways you've been choosing security over authenticity, comfort over growth, approval over truth. This awareness is painful, but it's also liberating, because you can't change what you can't see. Let's go deeper into relationships specifically, because I know many of you are either in relationships that are slowly killing you, or you're alone and desperate for connection. Here's what you need to understand. Most of what you call love is not love at all. It's need, it's dependency, it's fear of loneliness, it's trading sex for security or security for sex. It's using another person to fill the void inside yourself. It's a business arrangement dressed up in romantic language. Real love, authentic love, can only exist between two people who are already whole, who don't need each other but choose each other, who can be fully themselves without fear of rejection or abandonment, who celebrate each other's growth even when that growth takes them in different directions. How many of you can honestly say your relationship fits this description? How many of you are with your partner because you genuinely choose them every day? Or are you there because leaving seems too hard, too scary, too uncertain? Here's your third technique, and this one requires real courage. If you're in a relationship, I want you to have a conversation with your partner, a real conversation, not the surface level exchanges you've been having for years, but a deep, honest, vulnerable conversation about the state of your relationship. Tell them what you've been feeling, what you've been avoiding, what you really want. Ask them the same. Create a space where both of you can be honest without fear of consequences, at least for the duration of the conversation. Now, this conversation might reveal that your relationship is already dead and you've both been pretending, or it might reveal that there's still life there, still possibility, but it's been buried under years of resentment and unspoken truths and playing it safe. Either way, you'll have information, real information, and you can make a conscious choice rather than continuing to drift. If the conversation reveals that the relationship is dead, you have a choice to make. And this is where most people fail. They stay. They stay because leaving is hard, because they are afraid of being alone, because they've invested so much time, because of what people will think, because of financial concerns, because of 1,000 fears. But let me tell you something. Staying in a dead relationship is not noble, it's not loving, it's not kind, it's cowardice, and it's a betrayal of both yourself and your partner. You're both dying slowly, both wasting precious time, both modeling inauthenticity to anyone watching. If you're going to leave, leave cleanly, honestly, with as much love and respect as possible. But leave. Don't have an affair. Don't create drama. Don't make the other person the villain to justify your choice. Just acknowledge that you've grown apart, or perhaps were never really together in an authentic way, and give both of you the gift of freedom to find real connection, real love, real life. If the conversation reveals that there's still possibility, then you both need to commit to something radical, starting over, not trying to fix the old relationship, but consciously creating a new one, a relationship based on who you actually are now, not who you were when you met, not who you've been pretending to be, but who you actually are. This requires both of you to drop your masks, to be vulnerable, to risk rejection, to tell the truth about your desires and fears and needs. Here's a specific practice for couples who want to revitalize their relationship. Every evening, sit together for 20 minutes with no distractions, no phones, no television, just the two of you, and take turns sharing 10 minutes each. The person sharing speaks from the heart about their day, their feelings, their fears, their desires, whatever is alive in them right now. The person listening does nothing but listen, no advice, no fixing, no judgment, just pure listening and presence. Then you switch. This sounds simple, but it's revolutionary, because most couples haven't really listened to each other in years. They've been waiting for their turn to talk, defending, explaining, managing, but not really listening, not really being present. This practice creates intimacy, real intimacy, which is not the same as sex, though it often leads to better sex. Intimacy is being seen and seeing, being known and knowing, being vulnerable and witnessing vulnerability. Now, let's talk about sex, because I know many of you have questions about this, whether you're in a relationship where sex has become routine or non existent, or you're single and wondering if you'll ever experience passionate connection again. Here's the truth: sex is not separate from the rest of your life if your life is inauthentic. Your sex will be inauthentic if your life is numb. Your sex will be numb if your life is disconnected. Your sex will be disconnected. The best sex happens between people who are fully alive, fully present, fully themselves, who have dropped all performance, all trying to be good at it, all concern about how they look or what the other person thinks, and have simply surrendered to the energy moving through them. This kind of sex is not a technique you can learn. It's a natural expression of aliveness, of presence, of authenticity. So, if you want better sex, become more alive, become more present, become more authentic in every area of your life. Drop the masks, speak your truth, feel your feelings, inhabit your body, stop performing and start being. The sex will follow naturally, or you'll discover that you and your partner are fundamentally incompatible sexually, which is important information that allows you to make conscious choices. For those of you who are single, the same principle applies. Don't look for someone to complete you. Don't look for someone to fill your loneliness. Don't look for someone to validate your worth. Become whole first. Become alive first. Become authentic first. And then relationship becomes a celebration rather than a need, a choice rather than a compulsion, an enhancement of your already full life rather than an attempt to fill an empty one. Here's your fourth technique, and this applies whether you're single or partnered. I want you to have a love affair with yourself. And I'm being completely serious. Treat yourself the way you would treat a beloved lover. Take yourself on dates. Buy yourself flowers. Write yourself love notes. Speak to yourself with tenderness and appreciation. Touch your own body with reverence. Pleasure yourself without guilt or shame. Celebrate your own existence. Most of you treat yourself terribly. You speak to yourself in ways you would never speak to anyone else. You neglect your own needs. You betray your own boundaries. You abandon yourself constantly. How can you expect anyone else to love you well when you don't love yourself well? How can you recognize authentic love from another when you've never experienced it from yourself? This is not narcissism. This is the foundation of healthy relationship. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot love another authentically if you don't love yourself authentically. You cannot be present for another if you're not present for yourself. You cannot accept another fully if you don't accept yourself fully. Now, let's talk about money, because this is another area where most of you are deeply conflicted, deeply conditioned, deeply asleep. You've been taught that money is the root of all evil, or that money is the measure of success, or that spiritual people shouldn't care about money, or that money will solve all your problems. All of these are lies. Money is simply energy. It's a tool. It's neutral. What matters is your relationship with it. Most of you have a completely unconscious relationship with money. You either chase it compulsively without knowing why, or you avoid it and then wonder why you're always struggling, or you make it and immediately sabotage yourself, or you hoard it out of fear. Very few of you have examined your money conditioning, the beliefs you inherited from your parents, your culture, your religion about what money means and what it says about you. Here's your fifth technique. I want you to write down every belief you have about money, everything you've ever heard or thought about money. Just brainstorm, get it all out. Things like money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are greedy, I'm not good with money, I don't deserve wealth, money is spiritual, money corrupts, you have to work hard for money, money comes easily. Whatever your beliefs are, write them down. Then, next to each belief, write down where it came from. Did your father say this? Did your mother model this? Did your religious teaching include this? Did you decide this based on an experience? Just notice where these beliefs originated, because most of them aren't even yours. They're inherited, they're absorbed, they're unconscious programming. Then, and this is the important part, ask yourself, is this belief serving me? Is it true? Is it helping me create the life I want? Or is it limiting me? You'll discover that most of your money beliefs are either completely false or only partially true, or true for someone else but not for you. And yet, they've been running your financial life from the shadows. Once you've identified your limiting beliefs about money, you can begin to consciously choose new ones, not through positive affirmations that you don't believe, but through examining reality, looking at evidence, questioning assumptions. For example, if you believe that money corrupts, look for examples of people who have money and use it beautifully, generously, consciously. They exist, which means the belief that money corrupts is not universally true, which means it's your relationship with money that matters, not money itself. Here's what I want you to understand about money and spirituality, because this is where so many seekers get confused. Poverty is not spiritual. Poverty is poverty. There's nothing noble or enlightened about struggling to pay your bills, about being dependent on others, about not having the resources to support your own growth and contribute to the world. The idea that spiritual people should be poor is a control mechanism, a way to keep seekers powerless, dependent, small. At the same time, wealth is not spiritual either. There are plenty of wealthy people who are miserable, disconnected, using money as a substitute for real fulfillment, real connection, real meaning. Money amplifies who you already are. If you're generous and conscious, money makes you more so. If you're greedy and fearful, money makes you more so. The spiritual approach to money is consciousness, awareness, choice. Make money in ways that align with your values. Spend money in ways that reflect your priorities. Save money not from fear, but from wisdom. Give money not from guilt, but from joy. Use money as a tool to create freedom, to support growth, to contribute to the world, to enjoy life's pleasures without attachment. Here's a practical exercise. Look at your bank statement from last month, every transaction, and ask yourself, does this expenditure reflect my true values and priorities, or is it unconscious, habitual, compensatory? You'll likely discover that you're spending money on things that don't actually matter to you, things that are supposed to make you happy but don't, things you buy because you're bored or anxious or trying to fill a void. What if you took all that unconscious spending and redirected it toward what you actually value, toward experiences that genuinely enrich your life, toward your growth, toward your dreams, toward contributing to causes you care about? Most people have more money than they think. They're just spending it unconsciously, which means they're living unconsciously, which means they're dying unconsciously. Now, let's talk about success, because this is intimately related to money, but it's not the same thing. What is success? Really, what is it? For most of you, success is what you've been told it should be: a certain job title, a certain income level, a certain house, a certain car, a certain lifestyle. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself if that's actually what you want, or are you chasing someone else's definition of success? I've met countless people who achieved conventional success and found it hollow, empty, meaningless. They climbed the ladder only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. They won the game only to realize they didn't want the prize. They sacrificed everything for a dream that turned out to be a nightmare. Don't let this be you. Here's your sixth technique. I want you to define success for yourself, not based on what you've been told, not based on what will impress others, not based on what seems practical or realistic, but based on what would make your soul sing, what would make you feel alive, what would make you feel like you're expressing your unique gifts and living your purpose. Write it down. Be specific. What does a successful life look like for you? What are you doing? Who are you with? How do you spend your days? What impact are you having? What are you learning? What are you creating? What are you experiencing? Don't censor yourself. Don't be practical yet. Just let yourself dream. Let yourself imagine. Let yourself want. Then look at the gap between where you are now and that vision of success. This gap is not meant to discourage you. It's meant to inform you. It shows you what needs to change, what needs to be released, what needs to be developed, what needs to be risked. This gap is your roadmap. Now, here's where most people fail. They create the vision, they see the gap, and then they do nothing because the gap seems too big, the changes seem too drastic, the risks seem too scary. So they go back to their familiar misery, their comfortable prison, their slow death. Don't be like most people. Break the gap down into small steps, ridiculously small steps. If your vision of success includes leaving your job and starting your own business, you don't have to quit tomorrow. But you could spend 30 minutes today researching your business idea. You could spend an hour this week creating a basic business plan. You could spend a month building a financial cushion. You could spend 3 months developing your skills. You could spend 6 months building your business on the side. And then, when you're ready, you make the leap. The key is momentum. Small, consistent action in the direction of your authentic vision of success. Not someday, not when conditions are perfect, not when you feel ready, but now, today, this week, this month, because here's the truth. You'll never feel completely ready. Conditions will never be perfect. There will always be reasons to wait. And while you're waiting, you're dying. Let me tell you something about fear, because fear is what stops most of you from taking action, from making changes, from living authentically. You're afraid of failure, afraid of judgment, afraid of loss, afraid of the unknown. and so you stay in the known, even when the known is killing you. This is insane, but it's completely normal, which tells you something about what we consider normal. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is information. It tells you that something matters, that something is at stake, that you're at an edge. The question is not how to eliminate fear. The question is how to act in the presence of fear, how to feel the fear and do it anyway, how to let fear be a companion on your journey rather than a prison guard. Here's a practice that will change your relationship with fear. Every time you feel fear, instead of trying to get rid of it or talk yourself out of it or numb it, get curious about it. Where do you feel it in your body? What does it feel like exactly? What is it trying to protect you from? What's the worst that could happen if you did the thing you're afraid of? Could you handle that worst case scenario? Usually, when you really examine your fears, you discover that they're either highly unlikely to happen, or if they did happen, you could handle them. Most of your fears are not about actual present danger. They're about imagined future scenarios. They're about ego death, not actual death. They're about losing an identity, not losing your life. And the irony is that the identity you're afraid of losing is the false one, the conditioned one, the one that's been killing you slowly. So when fear arises, thank it for trying to protect you. Acknowledge it. Feel it fully in your body, and then ask yourself, what would love do? What would my authentic self do? What would I do if I weren't afraid? And then do that, not recklessly, not without wisdom, but courageously, consciously, in alignment with your deepest truth. Let's talk about purpose, because many of you at this stage of life are wondering what it was all for, what the point is, whether your life has mattered. This is a crucial question, and the answer is not found in your accomplishments, your possessions, your status, or your roles. The answer is found in whether you've lived authentically, whether you've loved deeply, whether you've grown continuously, whether you've contributed meaningfully. Purpose is not something you find, it's something you create. It's not a destination, it's a direction. It's not a fixed thing, it's an evolving expression of who you are. Your purpose changes as you change, it deepens as you deepen, it expands as you expand. Trying to figure out your one true purpose is like trying to capture a river in a bucket. It's the wrong approach. Instead, ask yourself, what's alive in me right now? What wants to be expressed through me? What breaks my heart? What fills me with joy? What am I curious about? What would I do even if no one paid me? What comes so naturally to me that I don't even recognize it as a gift? The answers to these questions point toward your purpose, not as a fixed destination, but as a current direction. Here's your 7th technique. I want you to experiment. Try things, take classes, volunteer, start projects, have conversations, explore interests, follow curiosities. You're not looking for the one right thing. You're looking for what lights you up right now, and you're trusting that following what lights you up will lead you where you need to go. So many of you are paralyzed because you're trying to make the perfect choice, the right decision, the one that will guarantee success and happiness and meaning. There is no such choice. Every choice has consequences, some predictable and some not, some pleasant and some not. The question is not which choice is right. The question is which choice is authentic, which choice is aligned with who you actually are, which choice requires you to grow. Make the authentic choice, even if it's scary, even if it's not practical, even if people don't understand. Make the choice that your soul is calling for. And then commit to it fully. Give it everything you have. And if it doesn't work out, if you fail, if you discover it wasn't what you thought, you course correct, you learn, you try something else. This is called living. This is called being alive. This is infinitely better than the slow death of playing it safe. Now, I want to talk about something that many of you are experiencing but not talking about. The feeling that it's too late, that you've missed your chance, that the best years are behind you, that you're too old to start over, to take risks, to pursue dreams, to find love, to reinvent yourself. This belief is killing you more surely than any disease. It's not too late. It's never too late. As long as you're breathing, you have the opportunity to change, to grow, to become more authentic, to live more fully. Yes, you have less time than you did when you were 20, but you also have more wisdom, more self-knowledge, more clarity about what matters. You have resources now that you didn't have then, both internal and external. You are actually in a better position to live authentically now than you were in your youth. The question is, will you use your remaining time to finally live, or will you use it to continue dying slowly while telling yourself it's too late to do anything else? This is your choice. No one can make it for you, and no one can stop you from making it except you. Let me share something with you. Some of the most inspiring people I've ever met started their real lives in their 50s, 60s, even 70s. They left marriages that had been dead for decades. They started businesses they'd always dreamed of. They pursued creative passions they'd suppressed. They fell in love for the first time in their lives. They traveled, they learned, they grew, they became more themselves than they'd ever been. And they told me, every single one of them, that they wished they'd done it sooner, but they were grateful they did it at all. You could be one of these people, or you could be one of the people who dies with regrets, with what ifs, with if onlys. The choice is yours, and you're making it right now. In this moment, by what you do next, by whether you turn off this video and go back to your comfortable misery, or whether you take one small, brave step toward your authentic life. Here's your 8th technique, and this is about dealing with the judgment and opinions of others, because I know this is a major obstacle for many of you. You're afraid of what people will think if you make major changes, if you leave your marriage, if you quit your job, if you pursue something unconventional, if you stop pretending to be who they think you are. Let me tell you something that will set you free if you can really hear it. No one is thinking about you as much as you think they are. Everyone is too busy worrying about what others think of them, too busy dealing with their own lives, their own problems, their own insecurities. You're not that important to them, which is actually liberating. It means you're free to live your life without worrying so much about their opinions. And for those people who do judge you, who criticize you, who don't understand your choices, ask yourself this: are they living authentically? Are they happy? Are they free? Are they people whose opinions you actually value? Usually, the people who judge you most harshly are the people who are most trapped themselves. They judge you because your freedom threatens their prison. Your authenticity highlights their inauthenticity. Your courage reveals their cowardice. You don't need their approval. You don't need their understanding. You need your own approval, your own understanding. You need to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and know that you're living your truth, that you're being authentic, that you're not betraying yourself for comfort or security or approval. That's the only opinion that matters. Here's a practice. When you find yourself worrying about what someone will think, ask yourself, will this person be with me on my deathbed? Will their opinion matter to me in my final moments? If the answer is no, then their opinion doesn't get a vote in your life decisions. It's that simple. Now, let's talk about forgiveness, because many of you are carrying resentments, grudges, bitterness from past hurts, past betrayals, past disappointments, and this weight is crushing you. It's keeping you stuck in the past, preventing you from being fully present, blocking your capacity for joy and love and connection. Forgiveness is not about condoning what happened. It's not about pretending it didn't hurt. It's not about reconciling with people who harmed you. Forgiveness is about releasing the grip that the past has on you. It's about freeing yourself from the prison of resentment. It's about choosing your own peace over your need to be right or to punish or to hold on to your story of victimhood. Here's your ninth technique. Make a list of everyone you're holding resentment toward, including yourself. This might be a long list. That's okay. Write down what they did, how it hurt you, what you lost because of it. Really feel it. Don't skip over this part. You need to acknowledge the pain before you can release it. Then, for each person, write a letter. You're not going to send this letter. This is just for you. In the letter, tell them everything you need to say. All the anger, all the hurt, all the disappointment. Don't hold back. Let it all out. Curse them if you need to. This is your chance to express what you've been holding inside. Then, and this is the crucial part, write another letter. This one from a different perspective. Write it as if you're observing the situation from a higher vantage point, from a place of wisdom and compassion. What do you see now that you couldn't see when you were in the thick of it? Can you see that the person who hurt you was probably hurt themselves? Can you see that they were unconscious, operating from their own wounds and conditioning? Can you see that holding on to resentment is hurting you more than it's hurting them? This doesn't mean what they did was okay. It just means you're choosing to release your attachment to the story, to the resentment, to the identity of being the one who was wronged. You're choosing freedom over being right, peace over punishment, your present over your past. Then, symbolically, release the letters, burn them, bury them, tear them up, whatever feels right. As you do this, consciously choose to let go, to release, to forgive, not for them, but for you, because you deserve to be free. You deserve to live in the present. You deserve to have your energy available for creating your future rather than rehashing your past. And don't forget to forgive yourself. This is often the hardest part. You've made mistakes, you've hurt people, you've betrayed yourself, you've wasted time, you've made poor choices. Welcome to being human. You can either spend your remaining years beating yourself up for your past, or you can learn from it, forgive yourself, and commit to doing better going forward. Which option serves your growth. Self-forgiveness is not about letting yourself off the hook. It's about acknowledging that you did the best you could with the awareness you had at the time. And now you have more awareness, so you can do better, you can be better, you can choose differently. But you can't do any of that if you're stuck in self-judgment and shame and regret. Let's talk about health, because your body is the vehicle for your consciousness, for your experience of life. And many of you have been neglecting it, abusing it, taking it for granted. You eat unconsciously, you don't move enough, you don't sleep well, you're stressed constantly, and then you wonder why you feel tired, why you are getting sick, why you are aging rapidly. Your body is not separate from your mind or your spirit. It's all one system. When you suppress emotions, your body holds the tension. When you live inauthentically, your body manifests symptoms. When you're disconnected from yourself, your body becomes numb. Disease is not random. It's your body's way of communicating that something is out of balance, something needs attention, something needs to change. Here's your 10th technique. Start treating your body as a sacred temple rather than a machine you use and abuse. This means eating real food, food that nourishes you, not processed garbage that slowly poisons you. It means moving your body every day, not as punishment or to achieve some aesthetic ideal, but because movement is life, because your body wants to move, because it feels good to inhabit your physical form fully. It means getting enough sleep, real sleep, deep sleep, which means turning off screens earlier, creating a bedtime routine, making your bedroom a sanctuary, prioritizing rest as much as you prioritize productivity. Your body repairs itself during sleep. Your mind processes during sleep. Your spirit integrates during sleep. Without adequate sleep, you're operating at a fraction of your capacity. It means managing stress, not by adding more things to your to-do list, but by addressing the root causes. Why are you stressed? Is it because you're living inauthentically? Is it because you're trying to control things you can't control? Is it because you're saying yes when you mean no? Is it because you're not asking for help? Is it because you're carrying responsibilities that aren't yours? Address these root causes rather than just managing symptoms. Here's a simple practice that will dramatically improve your health. Before you eat anything, pause and ask yourself, is this nourishing my body, or am I eating for comfort, distraction, habit? Before you sit on the couch for hours, ask yourself, does my body want to move? Before you stay up late scrolling, ask yourself, do I need rest? Just this simple practice of checking in with your body, of asking what it needs, will begin to shift your relationship with your physical health. Your body has wisdom, it knows what it needs, but you've stopped listening. You've overridden its signals for so long that you can't hear them anymore. Start listening again. When you're tired, rest. When you're hungry, eat real food. When you have energy, move. When you're tense, stretch, breathe, release. It's not complicated. We've just made it complicated. Now, let's talk about meditation, because this is one of the most powerful tools for transformation, for self-awareness, for living authentically, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. Most of you think meditation is about sitting in a specific posture, emptying your mind, achieving some special state. And when you can't do that, you think you're bad at meditation and you give up. Meditation is simply the practice of being present, of witnessing what is without trying to change it, of observing your thoughts and feelings and sensations without identifying with them, of creating space between stimulus and response, of remembering that you are not your thoughts, you are the awareness in which thoughts arise. There are countless meditation techniques: sitting meditation, walking meditation, dynamic meditation, watching the breath, using a mantra, observing sensations. The specific technique matters less than the commitment to practice, to showing up every day, to creating that space of awareness, that gap of presence. Here's your 11th technique. Start with just 10 minutes a day. Set a timer, sit comfortably, close your eyes, and simply watch your breath. Not controlling it, just observing it, breathing in, breathing out. Your mind will wander constantly. That's normal. That's what minds do. When you notice you've been lost in thought, gently bring your attention back to your breath. No judgment, no frustration, just gently returning again and again and again. This simple practice, done consistently, will change everything. You'll start to notice the patterns of your mind, the repetitive thoughts, the habitual reactions, the stories you tell yourself, and in noticing them, you create space. You realize you're not those patterns, you're the one observing them. And if you can observe them, you can choose differently. You have freedom. As you get comfortable with this basic practice, you can explore other techniques. I am particularly fond of dynamic meditation, which involves movement, catharsis, celebration, because many of you are too much in your heads, too disconnected from your bodies, too controlled. You need to shake things loose, to release pent-up energy, to let yourself be wild and free before you can settle into stillness. But whatever technique you choose, the key is consistency. 10 minutes every day is infinitely more valuable than an hour once a week. You're training your awareness, developing your capacity for presence, creating new neural pathways. This takes time, takes repetition, takes commitment, but I promise you, it's the best investment you'll ever make. Meditation is not about achieving some special state. It's about being fully present to whatever state you're in. If you're anxious, be fully present to anxiety. If you're sad, be fully present to sadness. If you're joyful, be fully present to joy. The practice is presence itself, not the content of your experience. And in that presence, transformation happens naturally, organically, without force. Let's talk about creativity, because many of you have suppressed your creative impulses for decades. You've been told that creativity is for artists, that it's impractical, that it's a hobby at best, that you're not creative, that you need talent. All of this is nonsense. Creativity is your birthright. It's the essence of being human. It's how you express your unique perspective, your unique gifts, your unique way of seeing and being in the world. You don't need to be a professional artist to be creative. You don't need talent or training or permission. You just need to show up and create, to write, to paint, to dance, to cook, to garden, to build, to make music, to take photographs, to do anything that allows you to express what's inside you, to make something that didn't exist before, to play, to experiment, to not know how it will turn out. Here's your 12th technique. Choose a creative practice, any creative practice that calls to you, and commit to doing it for 15 minutes every day. Not to be good at it, not to create something impressive, not to show anyone, just to create, to express, to play, to give form to what's inside you. This practice will reconnect you with a part of yourself that's been dormant. It will give you a channel for emotions that have been stuck. It will surprise you with insights and ideas you didn't know you had. It will make you feel alive in a way that productivity and achievement never can. Because creativity is not about the product, it's about the process. It's about being in flow, in the zone, in the present moment, completely absorbed in what you're doing. And here's what you'll discover. When you create regularly, when you give yourself permission to play, to experiment, to make messes, to not know, it spills over into every other area of your life. You become more creative in your problem solving, more flexible in your thinking, more open to possibilities, more willing to take risks, more alive. Many of you have stories about why you're not creative. You tried to draw once and someone criticized you. You sang and someone laughed. You wrote something and a teacher marked it up in red pen and you decided you weren't creative. You shut that part of yourself down and you've been living a half-life ever since. It's time to reclaim that part of yourself, to tell those old stories, to go to hell, to create anyway, to create especially because you're not good at it, to create for the sheer joy of creating. Now, we need to talk about death, because death is the ultimate teacher, the ultimate wake-up call, the ultimate reminder that your time is limited, that this life is precious, that you don't get to do it over, and yet most of you live as if you have forever, as if there will always be more time, as if you can postpone living until conditions are perfect. You can't, you don't have forever, you might not even have tomorrow. This moment, right now, is all you have, and you're either fully alive in this moment or you're already dead. You're either present or you're absent. You're either authentic or you're performing. You're either living or you're waiting to live. Contemplating death is not morbid, it's liberating when you really face the fact of your mortality, when you let it sink in that you will die, that everyone you love will die, that everything you're clinging to will be taken away. Something shifts, the petty concerns fall away, the need for approval diminishes, the fear of judgment loses its power. What remains is what actually matters: love, connection, authenticity, presence, contribution, growth, joy. Here's a practice that will change your life. Once a month, spend an hour contemplating your death. Imagine you've just been told you have 1 year to live. What changes? What suddenly becomes important? What stops mattering? Who do you need to talk to? What do you need to say? What do you need to do? What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to experience before you die? Write down what comes up. This is your truth. This is what actually matters to you, beneath all the conditioning and fear and shoulds and supposed tos. This is your roadmap. Now here's the question. Why are you waiting? Why aren't you living this way now? What are you waiting for? Permission. You don't need permission. You need courage. You need commitment. You need to stop postponing your life. I've sat with many dying people, and I can tell you, the ones who lived authentically, who loved deeply, who took risks, who followed their truth, they die peacefully, with gratitude, with a sense of completion. The ones who played it safe, who lived for others, who postponed their dreams, who never really showed up, they die with regret, with bitterness, with a sense of having missed the whole point. Which kind of death do you want? Because you're choosing it right now by how you're living. Let's talk about solitude, because many of you are afraid of being alone. You fill every moment with noise, with people, with distractions, because when you're alone with yourself, you have to face things you've been avoiding. You have to feel feelings you've been suppressing. You have to hear the voice you've been drowning out. And that's terrifying. So you avoid solitude at all costs. But solitude is essential. It's where you meet yourself. It's where you hear your own voice clearly. It's where you process your experiences, integrate your learning, reconnect with your essence. Without regular solitude, you lose yourself. You become a reflection of everyone else's expectations and opinions and needs. You forget who you are. The practice I gave you earlier, 30 minutes of doing nothing, that's a form of solitude. But I want you to take it further. Once a month, spend an entire day alone. No phone, no internet, no contact with anyone, just you. Do whatever calls to you. Walk in nature, sit in silence, write, create, rest, move, whatever, but do it alone. Be with yourself. Get to know yourself. Befriend yourself. This will be uncomfortable at first. You'll feel restless, bored, anxious. You'll want to reach for distractions. Don't. Sit with the discomfort. Breathe through it. Let it be. Because on the other side of that discomfort is a deep peace, a profound connection with yourself, a clarity about what you actually want and need and value. This is gold. This is what you've been seeking outside yourself, and it's been inside you all along, waiting for you to be still enough to notice. Solitude is different from loneliness. Loneliness is feeling disconnected even when you're with people. Solitude is feeling deeply connected to yourself when you're alone. Loneliness is painful. Solitude is nourishing. Most of you experience loneliness because you're disconnected from yourself, and no amount of external connection can fix internal disconnection. You have to go inside. You have to spend time with yourself. You have to learn to enjoy your own company. Here's a question that will reveal a lot. Do you like yourself? Not do you think you're a good person, not do you have high self-esteem, but do you actually like yourself? Do you enjoy your own company? Would you choose to spend time with yourself? If the answer is no, why not? What is it about yourself that you don't like? And here's the more important question. Is that actually true, or is it a story you've been telling yourself, a belief you've inherited, a judgment you've internalized? Most of what you don't like about yourself is either not true or it's changeable. You're not stuck being who you've been. You can grow, you can change, you can develop qualities you admire. You can release qualities that don't serve you. But first, you have to see clearly what's actually true versus what's conditioned belief. And that requires solitude, reflection, honest self-examination. Now let's talk about service, contribution, giving back. Because a life focused only on your own happiness, your own growth, your own fulfillment is ultimately empty. We're social creatures. We're interconnected. We find meaning through contributing to something larger than ourselves, through helping others, through making a difference, through leaving the world a little better than we found it. But here's what I want you to understand. Service is not about martyrdom. It's not about sacrificing yourself. It's not about giving until you're depleted. It's not about helping others while neglecting yourself. That's not service. That's codependency. That's trying to earn worth through being needed. That's avoiding your own life by focusing on others. Real service comes from overflow, from fullness, from having taken care of yourself first so that you have something genuine to give. It comes from joy, not obligation, from desire, not should, from recognizing yourself in others and naturally wanting to contribute to their well-being, because their well-being is your well-being. We're not separate. Here's your 13th technique. Find a way to contribute that aligns with your values and uses your gifts. This might be volunteering, mentoring, teaching, creating something that helps others, supporting causes you care about, or simply being more present and loving with the people in your life. Contribution doesn't have to be grand or public. It just has to be genuine. And pay attention to how you feel when you contribute. If you feel resentful, depleted, taken advantage of, that's information that you're giving from the wrong place, from obligation or need for approval rather than from genuine desire. Adjust accordingly, say no more, give less, or give differently. Protect your energy so that when you do give, it's real, it's full, it's joyful. The paradox of service is that when you give authentically, you receive, not in a transactional way, but because giving connects you to others, to life, to meaning. It gets you out of your own head, your own problems, your own self-obsession. It reminds you that you have gifts to offer, that you matter, that your life can make a difference. This is deeply fulfilling in a way that self-focused pursuits never are. Let's talk about gratitude, because this is one of the most powerful practices for shifting your state, for finding joy, for recognizing the abundance that's already present in your life. Most of you are so focused on what's wrong, what's missing, what you don't have, that you completely overlook what's right, what's present, what you do have. And this focus on lack creates more lack, more dissatisfaction, more suffering. Gratitude is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's not about spiritual bypassing. It's not about ignoring real problems. It's about consciously directing your attention to what's working, what's beautiful, what's gift. Because what you focus on expands. If you focus on problems, you'll find more problems. If you focus on blessings, you'll find more blessings. It's that simple. Here's a practice. Every evening before bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for from that day. And here's the key. They have to be specific. Not just, I'm grateful for my health, but I'm grateful that I could walk in the park today and feel the sun on my face. Not just, I'm grateful for my family, but I'm grateful for the laugh I shared with my daughter this morning. Specificity makes it real, makes it felt, makes it powerful. Do this every single day, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days, because there's always something to be grateful for if you look. The fact that you're breathing, that you have shelter, that you can see or hear or taste or touch, that someone somewhere loves you, that the sun rose today, that you have another chance to choose differently, to live more authentically, to be more present. This practice will rewire your brain over time. You'll start naturally noticing things to be grateful for throughout your day. Your default mode will shift from complaint to appreciation, from lack to abundance, from victim to empowered. And this shift will change everything. Your relationships will improve because you'll appreciate people instead of taking them for granted. Your health will improve because gratitude reduces stress. Your opportunities will increase because grateful people are magnetic. Joy will become more accessible because you're training yourself to see it. Now, I want to talk about something that might surprise you: the importance of play, of fun, of not taking everything so seriously. Most of you have forgotten how to play. You're so busy being responsible, being productive, being appropriate, being adult, that you've lost touch with the part of you that's spontaneous, playful, silly, free, and you're dying because of it. Life is not meant to be endured. It's meant to be enjoyed, celebrated, played with. Yes, there are responsibilities. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, there's pain and difficulty. But there's also beauty and joy and humor and absurdity. And if you can't laugh, if you can't play, if you can't find the lightness, you're missing half of what it means to be alive. Here's your 14th technique: schedule play. I am serious. Put it in your calendar, time for activities that serve no purpose except joy, no productivity, no self-improvement. No networking, just pure play. This might be dancing in your living room, playing with animals, doing art badly, playing games, being in nature, whatever makes you laugh, whatever makes you forget yourself, whatever makes you feel like a kid again. And learn to laugh at yourself, at your seriousness, at your self-importance, at the absurdity of existence. You're a human being on a rock flying through space. You have no idea what you're doing. None of us do. We're all making it up as we go along. So you might as well enjoy the ride. You might as well find the humor. You might as well play. The people who age well, who stay vibrant and alive, regardless of their physical age, they're the ones who maintain a sense of play, a sense of curiosity, a sense of humor. They don't take themselves too seriously. They can laugh at their mistakes. They can be silly. They can try new things without worrying about looking foolish. They've maintained access to their inner child while also having the wisdom of their years. This is the goal. Let's talk about boundaries, because many of you don't have them. You say yes when you mean no. You allow people to treat you in ways that don't feel good. You take on responsibilities that aren't yours. You give more than you have to give. And then you wonder why you are exhausted, resentful, depleted. Boundaries are not selfish. Boundaries are essential. They're how you protect your energy, your time, your well-being. They're how you honor yourself. Here's what you need to understand. When you don't have boundaries, when you're always available, always accommodating, always putting others first, you teach people that your needs don't matter, that you don't matter, and they'll treat you accordingly, not because they're bad people, but because you've trained them, you've shown them that it's okay to take advantage, that you won't push back, that you'll always sacrifice yourself, and then you resent them, but the resentment is misplaced. They're just responding to what you've allowed, what you've modeled, what you've taught them. If you want to be treated differently, you have to set different boundaries. You have to say no. You have to disappoint people. You have to risk their disapproval. And this is terrifying for most of you, because you've been conditioned to be nice, to be accommodating, to keep the peace. But here's the truth: being nice is not the same as being kind. Nice is about managing other people's feelings at the expense of your own. Kind is about being honest, authentic, clear, even when it's uncomfortable. You can be kind and still have boundaries. You can be loving and still say no. You can care about someone and still not sacrifice yourself for them. Here's your 15th technique. Practice saying no. Start small. Decline an invitation you don't want to accept. Don't answer your phone when you need space. Say no to a request that doesn't align with your priorities. Notice what happens. Notice the fear that comes up, the guilt, the worry about what they'll think. And notice that the world doesn't end. Notice that most people accept your no and move on. Notice that the ones who don't accept it are the ones who've been taking advantage of your lack of boundaries. As you get more comfortable saying no, you will start to say yes more authentically. Your yeses will mean something because they're not automatic, they're not obligatory, they're genuine, they're chosen, and people will feel the difference. They'll value your time more because you value your time. They'll respect your boundaries because you respect your boundaries. Everything shifts when you start honoring yourself. Boundaries are also about what you allow into your consciousness, what you watch, what you read, what you listen to, who you spend time with. All of this affects your state, your energy, your well-being. If you're consuming news constantly, you'll be anxious and fearful. If you're watching violent or degrading content, it affects your consciousness. If you're spending time with negative, draining people, you'll become negative and drained. Be conscious about what you allow in. Curate your inputs. Protect your consciousness the way you'd protect your home. You wouldn't leave your door open and let anyone walk in and trash the place. So why do you do that with your mind? Why do you let any content, any person, any energy into your consciousness without discernment? Start being selective. Start protecting yourself. Start honoring your well-being. Now, let's talk about legacy, because you're at an age where this becomes relevant. What do you want to leave behind? How do you want to be remembered? What impact do you want your life to have had? These are important questions, and the answers should inform how you live right now, not someday, not when you're older, but now. Legacy is not about fame or wealth or monuments. Legacy is about the impact you have on the people whose lives you touch, the love you give, the wisdom you share, the example you set, the change you create, the beauty you add to the world. This is what lasts. This is what matters. This is what people remember. If you died tomorrow, what would your legacy be? Would people remember you as someone who was alive, authentic, loving, brave, or would they remember you as someone who played it safe, who went through the motions, who never really showed up? This is not meant to make you feel bad. It's meant to wake you up, to help you see that you still have time to create the legacy you want, but only if you start now. Here's your 16th technique. Write your own eulogy. Imagine you've died and someone who loves you is speaking at your funeral. What do you want them to say? What do you want them to remember about you? What impact do you want to have had on their life? Write it all down. Be specific. Be honest. Let yourself imagine the best possible version of how you'll be remembered. Then read what you wrote and ask yourself, am I living in a way that will create this legacy? Is my current life aligned with how I want to be remembered? If not, what needs to change? What do I need to start doing? What do I need to stop doing? Who do I need to become? This exercise is powerful because it gives you clarity about what actually matters to you, and it shows you the gap between your current life and your desired legacy. That gap is your work. That's where you need to focus your energy, your time, your attention. Not on impressing people, not on accumulating things, not on maintaining appearances, but on creating a life worth remembering, a life that matters, a life that makes a difference. Let's talk about surrender, because this is one of the most misunderstood concepts. Most people think surrender means giving up, being passive, accepting whatever happens, letting life happen to you. That's not surrender, that's resignation, that's defeat. Real surrender is something entirely different. Surrender is about releasing your need to control everything, your attachment to specific outcomes, your resistance to what is. It's about doing everything you can and then letting go of the results. It's about being fully engaged with life while also being deeply accepting of whatever unfolds. It's about holding your preferences lightly rather than desperately. Most of you are exhausted from trying to control things you can't control: other people, outcomes, the future, the past, life itself. You're in a constant state of tension, of resistance, of trying to make reality conform to your ideas of how it should be. And this is suffering. This is what the Buddha was talking about. Your suffering comes not from what happens, but from your resistance to what happens. Here's a practice that will transform your relationship with control. Every time you notice yourself trying to control something, pause and ask yourself, is this actually within my control? Can I actually determine this outcome? If the answer is no, practice surrendering. Say to yourself, I release my need to control this. I've done what I can. Now I surrender to what is. I trust the process. I accept what unfolds. This doesn't mean you become passive. You still take action. You still make efforts. You still have preferences and work toward them, but you hold it all lightly. You do your best and then you let go. You accept that there are forces at play beyond your understanding, beyond your control, and you trust that whatever happens, you'll be able to handle it. You'll learn from it. You'll grow through it. Surrender is deeply liberating when you stop trying to control everything. When you stop resisting what is, you have so much more energy available. Energy that was tied up in tension and resistance and trying to force outcomes. Suddenly, that energy is free, available for creativity, for joy, for presence, for love, for actually living. And here's the paradox. When you surrender, when you stop trying to force things, often things flow more easily. Opportunities appear, synchronicities happen, doors open, not because you've magically manifested them, but because you're no longer blocking the flow with your resistance, your tension, your desperate need for things to be different than they are. Now we need to talk about your relationship with time, because most of you have a very dysfunctional relationship with time. You're always rushing, always busy, always behind, always feeling like there's not enough time. And this creates constant stress, constant pressure, constant anxiety. You're never present because you're always thinking about what's next, what you need to do, where you need to be. Here's the truth: you have enough time. You've always had enough time. What you don't have is clarity about your priorities. What you don't have is the ability to say no to what doesn't matter. What you don't have is presence. So you waste time on things that don't align with your values, on distractions, on other people's agendas. And then you wonder why you don't have time for what actually matters. Time is not the problem. Your relationship with time is the problem. Your inability to be present is the problem. Your lack of priorities is the problem. Fix these things, and suddenly you have all the time you need, not because you have more hours in the day, but because you're using the hours you have consciously, intentionally, in alignment with what actually matters to you. Here's a practice. At the beginning of each week, identify your top 3 priorities for that week. Not 10, not 20, 3. These are the things that actually matter, that align with your values, that move you toward your vision of success, that nourish your soul. Everything else is secondary. Then schedule time for these 3 priorities first. Before you schedule anything else, protect this time. Treat it as sacred. Say no to anything that conflicts with it. This is how you ensure that what matters actually gets your time and attention, instead of giving your best energy to whatever demands it loudest. And practice being present wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Be fully there. If you're with your child, be with your child, not thinking about work. If you're working, work, not thinking about your relationship. If you're resting, rest, not feeling guilty about all the things you should be doing. Presence is the antidote to time scarcity. When you're fully present, time expands, moments deepen, life becomes rich. Most of you are living in the future or the past, planning, worrying, remembering, regretting, and you're missing your actual life, which is only ever happening now, in this moment. The past is gone. The future hasn't arrived. All you have is now. And if you're not present to now, you're not present to your life. You're essentially already dead, going through motions, waiting for some future moment when you'll finally allow yourself to be present, to be alive. That moment is now. It's always now. There is no other moment. Stop postponing your presence. Stop postponing your life. Be here now, fully, completely, with all of yourself. This is the only moment you have. Make it count. Let me share something with you that might be the most important thing I say. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not your body. You are not your roles. You are not your history. You are the awareness in which all of these arise. You are the consciousness that witnesses thoughts, feelings, sensations, experiences. You are vast, unlimited, eternal, and you've been identifying with the contents of consciousness rather than consciousness itself. This is the root of all suffering, this misidentification. When you think you are your thoughts, you're at the mercy of every thought that arises. When you think you are your emotions, you're tossed around by every feeling. When you think you are your body, you're terrified of aging and death. When you think you are your roles, you're devastated when those roles end. But when you recognize yourself as awareness itself, everything changes. Thoughts come and go, you remain. Emotions arise and pass, you remain. The body changes constantly, you remain. Roles begin and end, you remain. You are the constant, the unchanging, the eternal, and recognizing this is liberation, this is freedom, this is the end of suffering. Not because your circumstances change, but because your relationship to your circumstances changes completely. This is not a concept to understand intellectually. This is something to be experienced directly through meditation, through presence, through self-inquiry. Ask yourself, who am I? Not what am I, but who am I? And keep asking, keep looking, keep investigating. Beyond every answer you come up with, there's a deeper truth. Beyond every identity, there's pure awareness. Find that, rest in that, live from that, and everything transforms. You've been living from the limited, conditioned, fearful ego, and it's been exhausting, it's been suffering, it's been a prison. But you're not the ego, you're the awareness in which the ego appears. You are so much more than you believed yourself to be, so much vaster, so much freer, so much more powerful, not power over others, but power to create, to choose, to be, to love, to live fully. This recognition is the ultimate goal of all spiritual practice, all self-inquiry, all growth, not to become someone better, but to recognize who you already are beneath all the conditioning, all the beliefs, all the identities, to come home to yourself, to your true nature, to your essence, and to live from that place. That's enlightenment, that's awakening, that's liberation. And it's available to you right now, not someday, not after years of practice, but now. If you're willing to look, to see, to let go of everything you think you are and discover what remains. So here we are. You've been listening for hours now, and I want to ask you, what's changed? Have you just been consuming information, adding to your collection of concepts and ideas, or have you actually been present, actually been feeling, actually been seeing yourself clearly? Because if it's just been intellectual, if you haven't felt anything, if you haven't been moved to look at your life honestly, then you wasted your time. You could have been doing something else. But if you have been present, if you have been feeling, if you have been seeing, then something has shifted. Maybe just a crack, maybe just a little opening, but that's enough. That's all you need. A willingness to see, a willingness to change, a willingness to live differently. The rest will unfold naturally if you commit to the practices. If you show up consistently, if you choose authenticity over comfort. I've given you techniques, practices, tools, but they're useless unless you use them, unless you actually do them. Not just think about doing them, not just intend to do them someday, but actually do them today, this week, consistently, because your life will not change through understanding. Your life will change through practice, through action, through showing up differently. So what's it going to be? Are you going to finish this video and go back to your comfortable misery, your familiar prison, your slow death? Or are you going to take one brave step right now toward your authentic life? Are you going to finally choose yourself, choose truth, choose aliveness? The choice is yours. It's always been yours. No one can make it for you. No one can stop you from making it except you. You have everything you need. You've always had everything you need. What you've lacked is not resources or opportunities or permission. What you've lacked is courage, commitment, willingness to risk everything you've built in service of something real. And I'm telling you, it's worth it. Living authentically is worth every risk, every loss, every moment of uncertainty. Because on the other side of that fear is a life so rich, so full, so alive that you can't even imagine it from where you are now. You have to experience it. You have to live it. You have to take the leap. Your time is running out, not to scare you, but to wake you up. You don't have forever. You might not even have next year. This moment, right now, is your opportunity, your chance, your invitation to choose differently, to live differently, to be differently. Don't waste it. Don't postpone it. Don't wait for perfect conditions or more courage or less fear. Start now. Messy, imperfect, scared. Start now. Take one practice from what I've shared and do it today. Just one. Not all of them, not perfectly. Just one practice, one small step in the direction of your authentic life. And then tomorrow, do it again, and the next day, and the next. Build momentum, create new patterns, prove to yourself that change is possible, that you're capable, that it's not too late. And as you practice, as you show up, as you choose authenticity over comfort, you'll start to notice changes, subtle at first. You'll feel more alive, more present, more yourself. You'll have more energy, more clarity, more peace. Your relationships will shift. Some will deepen, some will fall away. Both are good. Both are part of the process. You're aligning with truth, with authenticity, with your soul, and everything that's not aligned will naturally dissolve. You'll start to attract different opportunities, different people, different experiences, not through magic, but through the simple fact that you're different. You're vibrating at a different frequency, you're showing up differently, and life responds. The universe responds. Opportunities that were always there become visible. Connections that were always possible become actual. Synchronicities increase because you're in flow, in alignment, in truth. And most importantly, you'll start to like yourself, to enjoy your own company, to feel at home in your own skin. This is the greatest gift. This is what you've been seeking in relationships, in achievements, in possessions, in approval. And it was inside you all along, waiting for you to stop running, to stop performing, to stop pretending, and just be yourself, fully, completely, unapologetically yourself. This is my invitation to you. This is my challenge to you. Stop dying and start living. Stop pretending and start being. Stop waiting and start choosing. You have everything you need. You are everything you need. You've just forgotten. You've been asleep. But you're waking up now. I can feel it. You can feel it. Something is stirring. Something is ready to emerge. Let it, allow it, welcome it, become it. Your authentic life is waiting for you. Not out there somewhere, but right here, right now, in this moment, in your willingness to see clearly, to feel fully, to choose consciously, to be courageously. It's all here. It's all available. It's all possible. The only question is, will you choose it? Will you claim it? Will you live it? I believe you will. I believe that's why you're still here, still listening, still present. Something in you knows it's time. Something in you is ready. Something in you has had enough of the half-life, the pretending, the slow death, and is ready to burst forth, to live fully, to be completely, to love deeply, to contribute meaningfully, to die having truly lived. So go now, not to do anything dramatic, not to make huge changes overnight, but to take one small brave step, to practice one technique, to tell one truth, to set one boundary, to create one moment of presence, to make one conscious choice, just one, and then another and another, until one day you look back and realize you're living a completely different life, not because everything changed externally, but because everything changed internally. You changed. You woke up. You chose yourself. You chose life. You chose truth. And when that day comes, when you're living authentically, when you're fully alive, when you're at peace with yourself, when you're connected to your purpose, when you're loving deeply and being loved fully, when you're contributing meaningfully and growing continuously, when you're present to the beauty and the pain and the absurdity and the mystery of existence, you'll understand what I've been saying. You'll know that it was worth it. Every risk, every loss, every moment of fear, it was all worth it to finally be alive, to finally be yourself, to finally be free. This is my wish for you. This is my prayer for you. This is my certainty for you, that you will wake up, that you will live, that you will be, that you will love, that you will contribute, that you will grow, that you will die having truly lived, having been fully yourself, having given your gifts, having loved deeply, having made a difference. This is possible for you. This is your birthright. This is your destiny if you choose it. So choose it. Choose yourself. Choose life. Choose truth. Choose now, always now, only now, this eternal present moment where everything is possible, where transformation happens, where you are most alive, most yourself, most free. Be here, be now, be you, fully, completely, authentically, courageously, beautifully you. And remember, I'm not giving you answers. I'm not giving you a path to follow. I'm pointing you back to yourself, to your own wisdom, your own truth, your own knowing. You don't need me. You don't need anyone. You need yourself, your authentic self, your wise self, your courageous self. And that self is here, now, waiting for you to stop looking outside and start looking inside, to stop seeking and start being, to stop becoming and start recognizing what you already are. You are whole, you are complete, you are enough, exactly as you are. Not when you fix yourself, not when you achieve something, not when someone loves you, but now, as you are, imperfect, flawed, human, beautiful, you are enough. And from that recognition, from that acceptance, from that love, everything flows, all growth, all change, all transformation. It all comes from accepting what is, accepting who you are, and then choosing consciously how you want to grow, how you want to change, how you want to express yourself. So rest now. Let these words settle. Let this transmission integrate. Let yourself be. You don't need to do anything right now. You don't need to figure anything out. You don't need to have all the answers. Just be here, be present, be yourself. Breathe, feel, allow, trust, surrender, rest. You've been working so hard for so long, carrying so much, pretending so much, performing so much. You're exhausted. So rest, deeply rest. Let yourself be held by existence, by consciousness, by the mystery that you are. And from that rest, from that deep acceptance, from that profound peace, you'll naturally begin to move, to act, to create, to express, not from should or obligation or fear, but from authentic desire, from genuine inspiration, from love, from joy, from the simple pleasure of being alive and wanting to express that aliveness in the world. This is the natural movement of consciousness, of life itself. And you are that. You are life itself, expressing, experiencing, exploring, enjoying. So enjoy, really enjoy this precious human life, this miraculous existence, this brief moment of consciousness in a vast universe. It's a gift, an absolute gift. And you've been treating it like a burden, like something to endure, like something to get through. What a waste. What a tragedy. But it's not too late. It's never too late while you're breathing, while you're here, while you're present. It's not too late to choose differently, to see differently, to live differently. Choose now, see now, live now, be now, love now. This is all there is, this eternal now. And it's everything. It's more than enough. It's abundant. It's overflowing. It's miraculous. Open your eyes to it. Open your heart to it. Open yourself to it. Let yourself be amazed. Be grateful. Be present. Be alive. Really alive. Not just surviving. Not just enduring, but thriving, celebrating, dancing, playing, loving, being. This is your life. Your one precious, irreplaceable life. Live it. Really live it. Don't waste another moment in fear, in pretending, in playing small, in waiting for permission. You have permission. You've always had permission. From the universe, from existence, from life itself. The only permission you've been waiting for is your own. So give it to yourself. Give yourself permission to be yourself, to live your truth, to follow your joy, to take risks, to fail, to succeed, to love, to lose, to try, to grow, to change, to be. Permission granted. Now go, live, be, love, grow, contribute, enjoy, suffer, celebrate, question, discover, create, destroy, build, release, hold, let go, be human, be divine. Be both, be all of it, be nothing, be everything, be yourself, always yourself, only yourself, your authentic, beautiful, flawed, perfect self. This is enough. You are enough, more than enough. You are everything. And so it is, and so you are, and so we are, all of us, together, separate, one, many, the same, different, all of it. The whole, beautiful, messy, miraculous, tragic, comedic mystery of existence. And you get to participate. You get to experience it. You get to be it. What a gift. What an honor. What a responsibility. What a joy. Don't waste it. Don't postpone.